What's going on, guys? No Guides here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to go with a ball roll, one of the most effective skill moves that anyone could do on a pitch. Yes, I mean absolutely anyone. It's such an easy skill move to do, whether you want to call it a skill move or an actual movement on the right analog stick, I would say. It's very effective. As I said, every player can do it. It's really good if you want to, for example, create the passing lane, or let's say for example you're on goal and you want to create the angle with a simple ball roll. It's also really good if you want to beat the keeper. Let's say your keeper's rushing out, you can do a simple ball roll away from him. It is very effective. As I said, it's very effective. You can also do quick turns, so you can do a ball roll and then do a quick turn the opposite direction. So I like to, let's say, do a ball roll one way, then turn around. It's quite effective. Let's say, for example, you're going down the line and you want to do a ball roll turn. It's quite effective down there. Also, as I said, let's say you're in a 1v1 situation with a player and you just want to create the angle for the pass. You can do it very easily. Now, the most important thing you need to remember is the ball can only be used when you're jogging for it to be made effectively. When you're standing still, you can do this, your foot just kind of rolls over the ball naturally. You don't really move at all. So you don't want to do it when you're standing still. You want to do it when you're jogging. Then you get this actual ball roll movement. You see that? But the most important thing is you want to remember that you can't do this when you're running. So if you do a ball roll when you're running, what happens is your player just flicks the ball in front of you, as you can see. He just flicks the ball in front of me. So you want to only do it when you're jogging. That's the way to do a ball roll. So how do you do it? It's very simple. You just move the right analog stick. So this is the key. The right analog stick either to the left or to the right of the player. So if your player is facing downwards in the match, if you want to move to the player's right hand side, you'll have to ball roll into that direction. So let's say if I'm going up, if I want to ball roll to the right hand side, I'll ball roll to the right. If I want to ball roll down, for example, I'll ball roll down. So you can either go either left or right. It's kind of the main way of doing it. If you, for example, try going the other way, nothing really happens. It's only, for example, the left and the right, which is the most effective, and obviously it's really easy, so you can't really mess it up. As I said, make sure you don't run. If you do the ball roll when you're running, you kind of get this kind of animation where the ball gets kicked forward. Again, when you're standing still, it's not really effective. So it's really good, especially to chain skill moves together. If you do, for example, a skill move, then you do a ball roll to create a gap. I like to use it down the wing. Let's say I want to sweat the ball, and as you can see, my defender's right in front of me. So you can use a simple ball roll just to create the angle over there. As you can see, the angle was just created. Especially, for example, when you're trying to take a shot on goal as well. Let's say, for example, the angle is really acute, there's no way to pass to. Simple ball roll there, and you could do any direction. It's quite very effective. But I'm going to go through some examples in a second. One thing I just wanted to say, finally say, is when you do a ball roll, another thing why it's very effective is it's very good against humans. And what I mean by that is, it distracts your opponent from thinking about what you're going to do. You see, if you, for example, make a pass normally, your opponent can predict it. But if you add a simple ball roll into it and then you make the pass, what happens is your opponent, especially if it's more of a human opponent, the eyes drift naturally towards the player. So what I mean by that is, imagine if you're defending against this, you're the defender, and you see a Aubameyang doing a ball roll. Naturally, your eyes drift towards the ball and drift away from the player. So let's say I want to pass to Lacazette, it will drift away from Lacazette. And the reason why this happens is that your opponent thinks you're doing a skill move, like for example any other random skill move. So that's why it's really effective. So let's say, for example, you want to make a pass, you want to create the passing lane. I'll do a ball roll, drag the defender's eyes away, and then do a simple pass. It's kind of an effective technique that I would do. Do a ball roll, just to bring my defenders away, and also you kind of create the passing lane at the same time. So this angle is quite tight. It's really good for you to create the passing lane. Another way is good as well. Let's say someone's got a weak foot and you're scared he's going to use the outside of foot shot. If you do a ball roll, you can force the player on a strong foot. So let's say, for example, you don't need a left stick dribbling because it's a bit of an acute angle. And what you can do is simply just do a left stick dribbling, push him on the right foot, and it's very easy to score. We're going to go through some simple examples now. Okay, we're going to go through some basic examples, nothing too crazy, just so you kind of get the basic perspective. Here we have like a simple type of opportunity. We have the ball going forward. Now the place I do a ball roll is I get a bit lucky here, and I do a ball roll because I want to pass to this player down here. The reason why I did this ball roll, now although it looks like nonsense, that ball roll, but that was actually to do two things. One, it was to do the ball roll so my opponent, or in this case my opponent foot champions, his eyes gets fixated on the skill move, and thus he doesn't think about switching to this player and marking this one. See, it's more of deception. So even though this ball roll does look like it's just what let's call a nonsense ball roll, which you see kind of the pro scene, people think the pros are doing ball rolls for no reason. They're actually trying to open a passing lane. They're also trying to create a distraction. So here, you know, it was more of a distraction, as I said, to get them. So as you can see, this player overcommitted. He didn't see that run coming because of the ball roll. And secondly, I was worried if I did make the pass and he switched to this player, he could have stuck his leg out. So the idea was to do a ball roll to create the passing lane first, as you can see. Create the passing lane first, wait for the guaranteed pass, and then make the pass. That's kind of an example of where I use the ball roll. Okay, now here we have an example of me trying to open the space. So this is an example where I use the ball roll solely to open the space. I get a clear chance with Nedved over here. You've probably seen this clip before. It was actually in a previous episode of FIFA School. But when I got the ball with this clip, I did a fake shot stop here, and I passed the ball to Neymar. Now the first thing I'm thinking of was doing a fake shot upwards, but you see, I just do a ball roll first, and then I shoot instead. So remember how I said you can use the fake shot to create the space? You can also use the ball roll to achieve the same thing. So you can choose whichever one you want. In this case, I wanted to use a ball roll because I wanted the ball to be a bit more close towards my feet. Rather than doing a fake shot, I didn't want to go too wide. So I just wanted to do a ball roll. Did a ball roll upwards, as you can see. Did a ball roll upwards, created the angle like so, and then took another extra touch just to be extra sure. 45-degree angle, then took the shot. So just like with the fake shot, you can also use the ball roll to create the angle, and then easy for you to take. We have another clip of trying to get the angle. Now I'm going to slow this down a bit because a lot of things happen in this clip. I get the ball with Neymar. I take a touch outwards. My intention was for him to overcommit that way so I can go down here and shoot. He doesn't fall for it, so I end up doing a simple drag back. Do a drag back. Then once I'm in this position, okay, I turn around. I'm thinking, okay, I can take a shot now, but I see he's controlling this player over here. Ideally, my first initial impression was to go near post, but then I saw there was a small gap in between both the players. Now, in order for me to kind of get in, if I kept running forward, this player would have ran back and would have tackled. So the only other option I really had was a ball roll. I knew I was selecting this player, and this player was running this way. So my plan was do a ball roll just to create the 45-degree angle, so I can finesse it here in the bottom right corner. And this clip is from a pre-patch example, but the ball roll method still applies. I should have done a normal power shot here, but I ended up doing a finesse shot in the end, which is the wrong thing to do. And can you believe it? I missed that. That's just the way the game is. But the most important thing was the ball roll again, just to create the angle, take a touch away from that play. You see that ball roll? What it done is not only did it create the angle, also took. If I ran forward, he could have slid into me. Like imagine if I ran forward here, he could have slid into me, and he could have actually got the ball. But since I did the ball roll, I actually moved the ball away from him. You see that? So you see, we're going to watch it again. I'll mark where my player would have been had I not done the ball roll. As you can see there, just that very simple frame, just enough to move away from the player. That's why it's very, very effective in a final third. Especially if you're a player overcommits, all you can do is just go the opposite way with the ball roll. Very, very simple. Should have been a goal, but nonetheless, that is another example of how I create space. Okay, now this is a bit of a complicated clip, this one, but it all makes sense in a second. I want you to focus on some key things I want to mention. I'm going to press play. This is simple L1 trigger. Do an L1 trigger, a simple through ball down the wing. Now when I get the ball in this situation, I'm looking at who I can pass to. Now immediately there's only two viable options. It's Nedved, who's running in late, and Neymar. So my plan is I want Nedved to make the run going forward, as I taught you with the L1 triggers. So I get the ball with Nedved over here. I press L1 and Nedved makes the run going forward. The problem is Nedved is too far away and I'm going too fast. I need to slow down. I need to wait for Nedved to get around about this area. So what I do is I do a simple let go of the run button because I realize I'm going too fast. Then I slow down here, and even at this point I'm thinking, you know what, even if I pass the ball to Nedved over here, there is a high chance that this player will latch onto it and this player. So I don't really have that much of an option. Now I'm looking at who I can pass to. The other person is Ben Yedder, but Neymar, he's offside. So what I'm doing here is I do a ball roll. Now there's two reasons why I did the ball roll. Number one was just to give enough space if I did make the pass even to Nedved, just to make sure it doesn't kind of interfere with the defenders. 2, to push it on my right foot and potentially look at his angle, take a shot. But 3, as soon as I did the ball roll, I saw that Neymar was running offside. Then he was coming. I saw this movement with Neymar, and I saw him was going to come back on your onside again, and that's when I made the pass. It happens in a split second. I'm just going to slow down just to give you a bit of insight. Do a ball roll, and this is kind of like a ball roll to hold for time. So do a ball roll, and then I see Neymar, and then from that is a simple shot towards the goal. Now, it does look very unintentional, but that's exactly what happened in the game. I tried to trigger Nedved to make a run. That's what I said. It's important to understand the context. Tried to get Nedved to get the ball forward. He was too far away. So I was just thinking, okay, you know what? Let me just try passing the ball to Neymar. It was very risky, but it ended up working. I was just too worried that if I passed the ball, to be honest, in hindsight, I could have maybe ran a bit further, but I was just too scared it was going to close me down. So that's the reason why I took the risk in that chance, and I then took the shot towards goal. But again, the ball roll was used to cut the passing lanes, because had I not done a ball roll, let's say I just passed a Neymar over there was a good chance that defender could have got it. Because I did the ball and I moved it away from the defender, let him overrun it, then gave Neymar enough space, just enough for him to shoot a goal. Now this is another example where you can use a ball on open play. So for example, like here, this is what I like to call disguised passes. So you do a ball roll one way and you pass another way. So as you can see, if you look at the play, just watch how the reason I want to show you this clip. I just wanted to show you how this player reacts. See, since I do the ball roll, you see how this player kind of just looks away for a second, and just that simple ball roll kind of forced him to turn around and give me enough space. You see, if I made this pass downwards straight away, there is a big chance this pass could have been misplaced. So what I do is I do a ball roll, I go downwards, and I deliberately aim that way to guarantee the pass, but also just look how my opponent reacts to it. You see that how he reacts to it? I get the ball canter here. Now I do a simple pass with Bernard, and remember my ball roll turns again. So I want my opponent to think that I'm trying to create the gap like this, so I can pass the ball down the wing. But again, instead of passing down the ball down the wing, he ends up thinking, okay, you know what? He's done a ball roll downwards, going to pass to Bernard. He ends up marking it. You see that? Because he did the ball roll there, he thought I'm going to do a ball roll downwards and do a driven pass or driven through ball down the wing. So he automatically started to mark this run. Do you see that? And that in turn gave me more time with Bernard to get the ball and then spin around. You see that? But that wouldn't have happened if I never did that ball roll, because he would have probably changed to this player potentially. And that just gave me enough time to spin around and to make a very simple pass. But again, the ball roll was the most important thing in that aspect. Here's another example of where we have the ball in the middle of the pitch. My opponent's parking the bus. There's no one to pass to, and I get the ball to Alan. And the first thing I'm looking at is I want to pass the ball to Neymar. Now Neymar looks somewhat free, but the issue that I'm finding that there's a lot of players around him. And the first impression why I did a ball roll is I was worried this player was going to do a slide tackle. So the idea of doing a ball roll is, in the event that player does a slide tackle, I roll the ball away from him. You see that? So even if he did make that slide tackle, he would have either A, hit me, as in the player, and he would have committed a foul, or B, he would have probably just missed, as he did in this situation. So the ball was just to be moving the ball away from the player that was coming at me. So that's the key thing. Is it looks like nothing is going on, but I'm just focusing on the player coming at me, and then I do a ball roll away from him, if that makes sense. So it's just more of trying to keep the ball away from my opponent. Here's an example of using the ball to beat an opponent. So here we do a simple pass to Morales, do a simple fake shot, wait for, as I said before, wait for the point where he's just about onside, make the pass. Now here I take a touch inwards. And I didn't want to take a fake shot because my idea was I wanted him to move a little bit to the right, let this guy overcommit, and I wanted to pass at this player over here. That was kind of the plan. And again, just to beat that player, as you can see, I just do a ball roll away from him. You see that? Just that simple ball roll away from him, as you can see there. Ball roll away from him, then take extra touch. At that point, I realized there was defenders in front of Morales, so I couldn't pass to him. But again, the whole idea why I did it is I wanted to kind of let this guy overcommit, which he didn't commit. He defended the person in the middle, which is this is a smart thing to do, defend the person in the middle of the box. So I tried to pass Morales, he was packed out, and then eventually the chance led to nothing again, or more recycling the play. But that's just an example of when it can be used to beat a man down the box. Another way this would be very effective is if you do, for example, like a ball roll the other way. So you can do a ball roll the other way, and then for example here you can do a simple sweat down the wing. So the ball roll was really effective to be unpredictable as well. Now here we've got an example of a ball roll turn. Again, I get the ball Roberto Carlos. I see a player is coming at me. So what I want to do is I do a ball roll. So I move the ball away from the tackle and then I turn around. I'm just going to show you again because I kind of blurred out for a second. See the players coming towards me. I'm always going to do a tackle over here. So what I do is I do a ball roll away from him. Once he's committed to tackle, then I simply just turn around my left analog stick. You see that? So right analog stick down, ball roll, left analog stick the opposite way to turn around quickly, you see? And that's how you get those very quick turns that you probably see on a pro scene a lot. It's to do with the animations, and that's how you get those quick turns. You probably see that a lot in the pro scene. So again, used very, very effectively just to create the space. Now here's an example from my opponent. Now this is an opponent I played. I got very unlucky in this game, but well deserved by my opponent to win the game in the end. He played very, very well. He had the ball with Ronaldo in the end. He kind of knocks the ball forward, so I thought it was going to cut inside. So I tried to kind of predicted him to go in on the outside. Kept running down the line. Ignore when I'm pressing B in circle. Ignore that just for a second. Just ignore that button, but the rest of them should be fine. What I do is I'm running down the wing, and I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I need to switch this player and man mark this person over here. So what I'm doing here is when I got to this position, I switched to this player and I'm man marked. In case you're wondering what the circle and B is, that's my second defender press button. That's why, in case you always wondered, the controls, if you ever see me hold circle or hold B, it's your tackle button. My tackle button is A, and my second defender press button is B. Or circle, just because it's a bit easier to use. But what second defender press does, it just kind of lets this player kind of press a little bit more. It's kind of redundant, but I thought I'd just mention it anyway, just in case you were curious. So anyway, I'm switching to this player and man marking this person because that's the obvious sweat. And you see what he does here is he realizes that player is man marked. See, I did a very good job of man marking the player. But you see, he did a ball roll, and that ball roll just gave me enough time for me just to focus on the player. So I'll admit here, my player is then fixated on Ronaldo because I need to see, okay, he did a ball roll. Which way is he going? Is he doing a skill move? What's he doing? And just by me looking at Ronaldo do the ball roll, it was just enough time for me to lack concentration and not cover the run. You see that? So even a player like myself, who I like to think that I'm quite good at predicting my opponents, I did a very good thing, the very smart thing here. I blocked the pass. Then as soon as he's on the ball roll, my eyes drifted away to the player to see what he done, and that split second is that split second time that I needed, he needed for him to score. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's not just the fact that you're doing nothing, you're drifting your opponent's eyes away from the ball. So whenever you try to make a final pass, always try to do a ball roll, or if it's feasible, don't try to obviously overuse it, but use it now and then. As I said, as you can see, it's a perfect example of where he did a very, very good play, and I deserved to concede and ultimately deserved to lose a game. We're going to go to one more final clip now from the same game early on. Simple ball, we do a ball down the wing. As you can see, we kind of cut inside on the edge, and again we do a ball. Now, why we did a ball again? There's two reasons. One was when we got here, we did a ball roll because I wanted to get in between the space. Two, I wanted to wait for Nedved to get into a better position. You see, if I kind of just ran and jogged forward, my opponent would have seen what I was, kind of would have guessed what I wanted to do. I wanted to pass to either Nedved or Neymar, but they were too far away. So what I did is I did a ball roll, wait for Nedved to get into position, then make the pass. Again here, instead of kind of going down, I did a ball roll away. So he kind of drifts his eyes towards the ball roll, and then that way you see, if you look at the player that he's selecting, this individual, he overcommitted, he saw the ball roll, and then that in time gave Nedved more time to run forward, relieve away from his defenders. But again, as I said, it's more about deception. Going back to the final clip, the one previously, again, it's all about deception. When you got into this situation, I was thinking, okay, you know what, let me man mark Neymar. As soon as he does a ball roll, remember, if he didn't do a ball roll here, he could have done a Berber spin. So he could have done a Berber spin, and a Berber spin was like when you go, it's like a stop and turn where you go one direction and then you release the other. So you kind of like a back heel turn one direction, you release the other. If he'd done a Berber spin, he would have beaten Semedo in this instance. So I had to look at the player doing the ball roll, and that's what ultimately led me to concede the goal. But a very good goal, as I said. And that's just an example of the ball roll. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any other further questions, of course, let me know. I'll be making some more content in regards to ball rolls now. in the next couple of videos, implement them more into the gameplay. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out, boys.